Okay, so the big surprise in December will be that winter will start.
Winter?
Winter. Okay, the winter solstice. On December 21st at 3:03 p.m. And we usually have events here both at, well, I have to check. Is that a Monday?
No.
Oh, it isn't. Okay. We'll probably have events here at noon and at sunset showing the beginning of the winter season. Okay?
And we all get to shout out, winter is coming.
Winter is here.
Winter's
on
here.
that day, at that moment.
The goose is getting fat.
Winter be gone? No.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Basically, in the evening skies, you know, this is a great time if you get a telescope or get binoculars or even have them and don't just get them as a Christmas present. It's a wonderful time to look at the sky, especially in the southeastern sky, the bright stars of Orion, which will catch your eye even if you don't recognize the constellation, are great to scan. There's a lot of neat things like the Orion Nebula and all kinds of stuff you'll accidentally discover for yourself.
And you can always come back on a non-first Friday of the month and look through a telescope at Griffith Observatory.
Exactly.
So if you don't have your own, don't worry about it. Come to your telescope here at the top of the hill.
Before you go, I just want to draw your attention to Gemini, which is in the east, and that'll come up in a moment. So, okay. And then in the early morning, you know, everything in the sky's gone off to the west quite a bit. So Orion will be setting actually on the other side of the sky. But right overhead is the brightest planet visible easily anyway right now, and that's Jupiter. And this is a recent picture of Jupiter. A neat thing for a telescope this month is actually the next slide. On December 30th, if you've got a telescope and you look between almost 2 and 5 in the morning, you'll see two shadows of Jupiter's moons transit or cross the face of Jupiter at the same time, and followed by the moons themselves. So that'll be a really spectacular thing to see. The Geminid meteor shower is one of the most beautiful meteor showers of the year. Many of its meteors are bright. It typically produces 120 per hour on when you are lucky enough to see the maximum. This year we are perfectly timed for the maximum, which should occur just before dawn. But you can see the shower almost all night. Around 10 o'clock, it's usually enough to start seeing some. Because Geminids are bright, it's one you can watch from your backyard because you might not be tempted to go up in the mountains if it's real cold, although you will see more if you do go to a dark sky out to the desert or mountains to view. And then the Geminids are the result of a strange rock asteroid, I should say. It doesn't seem to be a typical asteroid, but it does seem to be one of these fracturing objects that we had a presentation about. It does grow a tail, as this stereo solar observatory in space showed. It is growing a dusty tail, even though it seems to be a rocky object. Okay, and then finally, towards the end of the month, Saturn becomes visible just during dawn, actually. But if you've got a telescope, there's probably nothing more exciting to see. And the rings are almost tilted as far open as they can be.
How many of you have seen Saturn through a telescope? So since I can't tell who doesn't have hands up, let me tell you, you must go do it. It's really
well,
beautiful.
it'll be around in the spring and summer. You know, we'll be showing it here during decent hours. But you go to the next slide. So on Christmas morning, if you got up early and got your presents,
unwrap the
assuming
telescope.
you're doing this, unwrap the telescope and look off to the southeast, and low near the horizon you'll see Saturn, which, in case it doesn't show up well, is there above the orange star Antares, Scorpius. Okay.
And that's not Rudolph's nose.
Not Rudolph's nose.
All right.
And finally, the last day of the year, Venus kind of comes out of hiding. It's actually out in the evening sky now, but it's so close to the sun, it's been hard to see. If you look about half hour after sunset, you can see it close to where the sun set. But on December 31st, it'll be out farther, and just below it, you'll see another object joining it. And that object is going to stay with it for almost all the next month in January. And that is the planet Venus, the brightest one, and planet Mercury. They're going to do kind of a strange dance next month, and this will be the beginning of it.
What kind of strange dance?
Well, just that Mercury will be coming out, moving away from the sun as Venus does, and they'll actually stay to get very close together in the sky through almost all of January.